A girl full of faith, love, and hope faced a test that would change her life forever. The girl who suffered on earth, but God embraced her in heaven, is a story that will touch your heart and make you reflect on the power of faith in the darkest moments. If this story has moved you, do not forget to subscribe. Join us on this journey of faith, love, and hope, and do not miss what is coming. God has something special for you. In a small town stuck between green mountains, there lived a girl named Anna. At the age of 7, her life was full of contagious laughter, happy dreams, and an infinite curiosity about everything around her. Her home, modest and full of love, was a refuge of joy. Anna lived with her mother, Carmen, a woman of deep faith and a generous heart, who always taught her about the love of God and the importance of living with gratitude. From an early age, Anna was known for her kindness and her ability to make anyone around her feel special. Her laughter, like an angelic song, was impossible to ignore, and her presence seemed to illuminate every dark corner. Often, Anna spent the afternoons running to the fields, looking for flowers or playing with the animals in the neighborhood, always accompanied by her faithful puppy, Max. Despite being so young, Anna had a unique connection with her faith. Every Sunday, she and her mother attended the town church. Anna, sitting on the bench with her bright eyes, listened attentively to the pastor as he spoke about the love of Jesus and how he had healed the sick, forgiven the sinners, and given hope to the helpless. Anna was fascinated by the figure of Jesus, and she always felt special when her mother whispered in her ear, "He loves you, Anna." One spring afternoon, while Anna was picking flowers in the field near her home, Carmen watched her from the window, smiling tenderly. She knew that her daughter was growing up in an environment full of love and faith, and she thanked God every day for that precious gift. At that moment, Carmen could not imagine what the future would bring. Anna's life, so full of joy and light, would soon face a test that would test her faith and that of everyone around her. But for now, everything was peace. Anna did not understand everything that was happening in the world, but there was one thing she knew for sure. Her life was in the hands of God, and He always took care of her. With her pure heart, Anna prayed every night before going to sleep, thanking God for her mother, for Max, and for everything beautiful around her. That was Anna's life. A girl who lived with the innocence and joy of someone who has not been touched by suffering, but whose heart was already beginning to fill with a faith that, over time, would be put to the test in a way she never imagined. Anna's life changed in a blink of an eye. One morning, after a weekend of laughter and games, Anna began to feel strange. First, it was just a slight fatigue. "Don't worry, my love. It's probably just a cold," Carmen said with a smile as she caressed her forehead. However, the days passed and the discomfort did not disappear. Anna began to lose her appetite, and her energy faded. Her bright eyes, so full of life, seemed to slowly fade. Worried, Carmen took her to the town doctor. After some tests, the news was devastating. The girl had a serious illness, something that even doctors could not fully diagnose. Everything happened so fast that Carmen felt as if the world was coming at her. Anna, the girl full of light and joy, was sick, and her future was uncertain. Carmen tried to stay calm, to be strong for her daughter, but tears could not help but spring from her eyes. "Why, sir?" "Because my daughter," she asked again and again. The pain in her heart was unbearable. But in the midst of the anguish, something inside her told her that she should trust God, even if she did not understand why. Anna, with her small, weakened body, did not understand the gravity of what was happening. She kept smiling, as if she did not realize the suffering that was invading her body. "Mom, why do I feel so tired?" he asked one afternoon while lying in his bed. Carmen, taking his hand tenderly, whispered to him, "My love, God is taking care of you. He knows what you need, and He will always be with you." Despite her mother's comforting words, Anna already felt that something was changing. A feeling of peace enveloped her, something she could not explain. It was as if, in the midst of suffering, she could feel the presence of God embracing her. Carmen, devastated but with hope in her heart, began to pray with more fervor than ever. Every night, before going to sleep, she knelt next to Anna's bed, asking for her healing, for her strength, and for the strength to move on. The community of the town also joined in prayer. Every time Anna went out of town with her mother, the neighbors greeted her with warm smiles and told her, "We are praying for you, little one." Although the pain did not disappear, Carmen clung to her faith. "God has a plan for you, Anna," she said over and over again. And although those words felt empty at times, Carmen knew she had to keep believing. But fate had something more prepared for her daughter, something that would change the lives of both forever. The days grew longer, and Anna's illness did not show signs of improving. Carmen, with her heart full of uncertainty, did not know how to face what was coming. As the girl became weaker, every day was a fight, not only physical, but also emotional. But Anna, with her optimistic nature, continued to show her mother a strength that surprised everyone. Despite the constant fever, the pains that passed through her, and the lack of energy, Anna never lost her smile. "Mom, I feel a little better," I said to her softly, although her face was getting paler. Carmen knew that her daughter was trying to comfort her, as she had always done. Every morning, when she woke up, Anna asked about her mother's state, worried about her suffering more than about her own. The doctors had no more answers. No one could find a cure for the disease that Anna was consuming. The treatments did not work, and hope began to fade into thin air. Carmen, however, never stopped trusting in God's will. Every morning, when she opened her eyes, her prayers became more fervent, and every night, before going to bed, she asked Anna to pray with her. In the midst of that endless wait, the little family surrounded themselves with the strength that faith gave them. The days passed slowly and difficultly, but Carmen never stopped telling her daughter, "God is with you, my love. He is not going to leave you alone." The nights were the hardest. Carmen stayed awake, watching Anna sleep, afraid that the next day would be the last. But something inside her told her that she had to keep hope, no matter how small it was. In those moments of despair, when her mind dragged her dark thoughts, she remembered her daughter's teachings. "God takes care of me, Mom." Anna, despite everything, she remained at peace. During her quieter moments, when she could no longer run or play, she sat next to her mother and talked about the angels, about heaven, and about how, one day, they would meet God in that place full of light. Sometimes, Carmen saw her daughter looking at the sky through the window, as if at that moment she could see something that her mother could not understand. As time went by, Carmen felt that the girl was being transformed in a way that she could not explain. Anna's earthly life faded slowly, but her spirit strengthened with each passing day. Carmen clung to that last blessing, the consolation that her daughter had found an inexplicable peace, even when her body did not respond. Despite the uncertainty that reigned over them, the mother and daughter continued to walk together on that difficult journey, each with their faith, their love, and a hope that God had a greater purpose for them, something that only He could understand. One morning, after a quiet night in which Carmen had prayed nonstop next to her daughter's bed, something unusual happened. Anna woke up with a serenity that surprised her mother. Her eyes, which were once overshadowed by pain, now shone with a deep calm. Carmen watched her cautiously, not knowing if she should feel hopeful or fearful. "Mom, it doesn't hurt anymore," Anna said, with a soft smile on her face. Carmen approached her, taking her in her arms, unable to understand how something so unexpected had happened. "Are you sure, my love?" she asked with trembling voice, even with fear that what she saw was just a fleeting moment of relief. Anna felt with a clarity that seemed unreal. "Jesus came to see me last night. I was surrounded by light, and He told me that I didn't have to worry anymore. He hugged me and told me that everything would be fine." The words of the girl left Carmen speechless. Something inside her knew that there was something supernatural in what her daughter had just said, something beyond human understanding. With each passing day, Anna continued to show signs of improvement. Her body, weakened for so long, began to regain strength. Carmen, amazed and grateful, did not know if what was happening was a miracle or if her daughter was experiencing a special grace that only God could grant. The following days, Anna got out of bed for the first time in weeks. Although her body was still fragile, her face shone with a peace that no one had seen before. The strength of the girl seemed to be renewed, and with that, so did Carmen's faith. Every morning, when Anna opened her eyes, the first thing she said was, "Thank you, Mom, for always trusting God. The people of the town began to find out what was happening. Many went to Carmen's house to see the girl, who now seemed like a kind of symbol of hope and faith. Everyone wanted to hear the story of how, despite the illness that had almost taken her away, Anna had found peace in her heart. Carmen, although surprised by the change, understood that what was happening was a gift from God. One of those mornings, as Anna looked out the window, she said, "Mom, I feel like I've already lived everything I needed to live here, and I'm ready to go to heaven. But I don't want you to be sad. God is going to take care of me." Carmen did not fully understand what her daughter wanted to say, but something in the air seemed to confirm it. Anna was closer to God than ever. That same afternoon, when the sun began to set, Anna asked her mother to take her to the field, to the place where she had always played as a child. Together they walked down the path, surrounded by flowers and trees. Anna, with her hand on Carmen's, seemed as light as a feather, as if the weight of the world was no longer on her shoulders. It was at that moment, as they looked at the horizon, that Anna whispered to her mother, "Mom, I promise you that I will always be with you, even if you do not see me. Jesus has me in his arms." With those words, Carmen felt that a deep peace invaded her heart, a peace that only the love of a mother and the faith in God could give her. Anna smiled, looked at the sky, and closed her eyes as if she were preparing for a journey that only she could understand. Carmen, with a broken but hopeful heart, hugged her tightly, knowing that what was to come, although painful, was part of the divine plan. The afternoon that Anna had spent in the field was the last one in which she enjoyed the fresh air and the beauty that surrounded her. When they returned home, Carmen prepared her daughter to sleep, as she had done so many times before. Anna lay in her bed with a calm smile on her face, and Carmen covered her with the sheets, giving her a kiss on the forehead. That night, while the people were submerged in silence, Carmen knelt next to her daughter's bed, as she always did, to pray. But something in the air felt different. There was such a deep peace that it seemed that time itself had stopped its march. Carmen could not explain why, but she knew that something was going to happen that night. Anna, with her serene face and intertwined hands, whispered softly, "Mom, it doesn't hurt anymore. Jesus is waiting for me." Carmen, with tears in her eyes, hugged her for the last time, feeling at that moment that her heart was breaking into 1,000 pieces. But at the same time, she understood that what was to come was an act of divine love, something that only God could offer his daughter. That same night, Anna closed her eyes for the last time, with infinite peace in her soul. Carmen, although with a broken heart, knew that her daughter had gone to heaven, to that place full of light and love that she had always spoken of. At dawn, when the first rays of sun illuminated the room, Carmen woke up and saw her daughter sleeping deeply. It was then that reality struck her with all its weight. Anna was no longer there, but her spirit, her faith, and her love were still alive in her heart. The whole town was moved by the news of Anna's departure. Although it was difficult to believe, everyone knew that the girl had touched their hearts in a unique way, and that her faith and her joy would remain alive in each of them. Anna's funeral was a moment of mourning, but also of celebration. The people of the community, friends, and family gathered to pay tribute to the little girl who, despite her short life, had left an indelible mark. The words of the pastor resonated strongly on that sad day. Anna has returned to the house of God, where there is no longer suffering or pain. She has found eternal peace. Carmen, with her face covered with tears, looked at the sky as her daughter's coffin slowly descended to earth. At that moment, something in her heart gave her the certainty that Anna was well. Anna, her little girl, was in the arms of Jesus, where pain no longer reached her, where love enveloped her eternally. And so Anna's life, although brief, left a deep lesson in faith, hope, and love. Carmen knew that, although her daughter was no longer on earth, one day they would meet again in heaven, where separation would not exist. The emptiness that Anna left in Carmen's life was indescribable. The house that was once full of laughter and games now seemed a dark place, marked by the absence of the little one. But despite the pain, Carmen found something in her heart that kept her firm, the faith that had been transmitted through the years, the faith that Anna had embraced so deeply that even at the end of her life, it had been her comfort. Carmen spent the days looking at Anna's photos, remembering the moments of shared happiness, the prayers before going to sleep, the afternoons playing in the field. And although the tears did not stop falling, there was something inside her that told her that her daughter had not left in vain. Anna had taught everyone to see life with different eyes, to understand that God's love is eternal and that faith, despite the tests, always illuminates the way. Sometimes, Carmen was looking at the sky and thinking about her daughter's words, "Anna, Mom, I'm ready." At those moments, she felt that Anna had not gone completely. Her daughter was with her, guiding her from heaven, and all she had to do was keep her faith. And that was what Carmen did. Every night, before going to sleep, Carmen prayed as she had always done, but now she did it with deeper purpose. Not only did she ask for Anna's healing, but for the strength to live without her. Her prayers became more intimate, more personal, seeking comfort in a God who had given her such a special daughter, although for so little time. The days turned into months, and little by little, Carmen began to find peace in her heart. She knew that her daughter was in a better place, without pain or suffering. She also understood that God's love has no end, and that her relationship with Anna had not ended, but had changed. The girl had left, but her love was still alive, and every thought, every memory kept her close. The community, which had been so united in prayer for Anna, continued to be a fundamental support for Carmen. Every time she felt that sadness consumed her, someone came to her with a word of encouragement, a hug, a reminder of the faith that Anna had sown in everyone. One day, as she walked the same field where she had been with Anna in her last moments, Carmen felt a deep peace when she looked at the sky. The clouds moved slowly and the sun slipped between them, creating a warm glow that enveloped her. At that moment, Carmen felt that her daughter was there with her, in that place full of beauty and tranquility. It was not a physical presence, but it was as real as the air she breathed. Anna was with God, and that gave her comfort. Carmen understood that the faith that Anna had shared with her was not only for times of joy, but also for the darkest moments. Faith was her anchor, her strength, and over time, Carmen found purpose again in her life, not only for herself, but for the legacy of love that her daughter had left behind. As the years passed, Carmen learned to live with the absence of Anna. The wound in her heart never healed completely, but the love and faith that her daughter had taught her helped her to continue. Every time he sat in silence in his house, or walked through the fields that once witnessed Anna's laughter, he felt that his daughter had not left properly. The love they shared was still present, and although the distance seemed insurmountable, Carmen knew that he was not an eternal God. The nights were the most difficult, when loneliness felt deeper and Anna's memory became more vivid. Carmen used to look in the mirror, looking for the reflection of her daughter in her own eyes. Every time she felt the pain invading her, she knelt, closed her eyes, and asked God to guide her, to help her maintain the peace that her daughter had found. One day, while walking to the village, Carmen found a little girl playing next to a tree. The girl turned. When she saw her, she smiled with the same warmth and kindness that Anna had. Carmen stood still for a moment, watching the girl, and without knowing why, she felt as if Anna's spirit was there in that little girl. The girl, seeing Carmen's gaze, approached her and said, "My mother tells me that Jesus is always with us, and that he loves us very much. I love you too." Those words touched Carmen's heart in a profound way. She felt that her daughter, in some way, was sending her a message of love and comfort through that little girl. At that moment, Carmen realized something that Anna had always told her: God's love is never lost. Although people can leave this world, the love they shared is still alive in the hearts of those who left behind. That night, while looking at the stars, Carmen felt a peace that she had never experienced before. It was as if everything fit, as if Anna's suffering and loss had a purpose that only God could understand. He knew that one day they would meet again. The promise of an eternal reunion with his daughter gave him strength to move on, with hope and a heart full of love. "One day, my love," he whispered to himself, "one day I will see you again." And so, while time continued its course, Carmen lived with the certainty that Anna's departure was not the end, but simply the beginning of an eternal reunion. Every day, his faith deepened, and every night, when he closed his eyes, he felt the embrace of his daughter in his heart.